What's up, College Station? I'm Grace Hollowell, and today we have a special episode with two guests instead of one. We have Caroline Usk from our Public Works Department, and we have Tommy Shilling from Code Enforcement. Hi, y'all. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yep,
Yes.
Thanks for having us.
Now, we've had you on the show individually before, but we decided to kind of have you both on the same time to talk about move-in. It's that time of year again. I feel like this summer has been flying by, but our lovely college students are going to be moving back in to start their semesters here pretty shortly, and that is something that you two work hand in hand and see a lot of different things related to moving in and moving out, so you're constantly in communication with each other about those things. So we decided to have you both on today to talk about those lovely things, but also to kind of learn more about what it is that you each do. So let's kind of start things off. We'll go in a row here, starting with Tommy. Tell us a little about yourself and your role here for Code Enforcement.
Yes, ma'am. So I'm originally from Waco. I moved to College Station area in '07. I started with the city in 2010, so I'm working on my 15th year. And I am the code enforcement supervisor, so I have 5 officers underneath me that have assigned areas where they proactively and reactively go in their areas and enforce code violations.
Yes, in 15 years, you've seen a lot of changes over time, I'm sure, especially when it comes to Northgate, how that has been developed
Yes.
over the years, and as well as with A&M's football games, parking, things like that. Like we've said before on the show, we've grown, and that is definitely something that y'all see firsthand.
Yes, like I said, I moved here in '07, and I started with the city in 2010, and I actually started in Northgate. So there's a lot of it's a bar district, of course, it's an entertainment district, so there's bars, there's churches, there's restaurants. What you're starting to see now with time is a lot of high rises, right? Mm-hmm. So more student-oriented bases over in that area. But yeah, the whole city as a whole has grown exponentially. So.
Yes, and that for you, Caroline, too, is something I'm sure that presents a lot of changes and sometimes challenges, because you've been in your role here at the city for quite some time now, too, correct?
Yes, so I've been with the city, I think I'm in my 8th or 9th year. I've kind of lost track. I feel like everyone loses track until you hit like the 5 to 10 milestones. But yeah, I have been the solid waste division manager for about 5 years now, and we've seen quite a bit of an evolution in terms of collection styles, people, movement into the city, especially Northgate, but kind of every aspect, including single family and multifamily. We kind of have to juggle all 3 account types, just trying to keep our services going and the expectations from our residents. So yeah, it's definitely been an evolution. And I think we've handled it pretty well, or I hope we have.
As much as we can.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so what are we talked about the changes here. What are some of the big challenges that you guys see in your departments?
So being this close to the fall semester, what we're running into now is accumulation of trash, open storage, weeds and grass, of course, especially with all the rain we've had this summer. And then whenever fall starts, we're going to see an influx in games. So a lot of people are going to be coming into town. So a lot of game day parking issues that we'll talk about later.
And for the accumulation of trash, that is, again, what goes hand in hand with solid waste and code. So how does something like that affect you guys and what you do?
For solid waste, what we're looking at with accumulation and kind of that move in, move out period is mainly spreading out the workload and not overloading one individual or one collection type. So how that functions for us is we constantly have eyes and ears all over the place, whether it's internal for solid waste, our interdepartmental connections. We've got eyes all over. Citizens like to send us pictures, just a heads up of locations of piles we may not know about. So in terms of routes or specific collections, we have specific stops, so where those containers are located. If you have pieces or piece of furniture, accumulations, piles, whatever outside of those routes, we may not know about them. So the easiest way that we can take care of them is just keeping us informed, and working with code is a huge part of that. And then we spread out the workload based on the collection that's needed.
Yes, it's a well organized science here, the balance between the departments, and we'll talk a little bit about how people can report those issues that they see later on. But what makes you both so passionate about your jobs here? Like you said, you've been here for quite some time now, and what gets you up in the morning? What gets you excited to come to work and tackle these challenges?
Well, I guess we're all task oriented based, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with code enforcement, you never know what your day is going to entail. So usually I like that challenge. When you wake up, you're dealing with citizens, I deal with my team as well. And you, like I said, you just don't really know what's going to come down the pipeline. But it's actually fun to get, whenever we get requests or complaints, we actually get those fixed for our citizens.
Right. Like, again, public service.
Right.
We're all about helping people.
We do work for our citizens. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
I would say the same. I would say the other aspect, kind of like you mentioned, your team. My team is really important to me. I think moving into solid waste, because I'm not originally from the solid waste industry, my background is more of environmental compliance, regulations, hazardous waste, and how to clean up spills. So when I moved into the solid waste industry about 5 years ago, it was quite humbling of getting to experiencing something new. And so I would say the people that we work with, my team is absolutely fantastic. Every employee that we have comes up, shows up, does a fantastic job with the amount of workload. I think not many people realize what's out there unless it causes some sort of a nuisance, and then you and I have to talk. But I would say that's probably our biggest passion as a whole. I feel like for the city is the people that you work with.
Yes, absolutely. And you mentioned that workload that the residents might not see. You would think, our solid waste team is massive. There's all of these people, but it's a small team.
Yes. So we have about 48 full-time employees. That includes all the administrative staff, those that answer the phones, myself. But we don't just do solid waste. It's not just driving a truck to pick up, a couch or whatever. Our team does quite a bit more than that. So we do anything related to like a debris management event, so emergency management. I work hand in hand, and a lot of our staff work hand in hand with reviewing construction plans. So we're looking at that. We do environmental compliance regulations that are dedicated specifically to our public works department. There's a lot that goes into it,
yes,
including like DOT, OSHA, how to handle hydraulics, like a lot of things that go into that most people don't realize on the back end.
And at the same time, code enforcement too, you only have a handful of officers that are responsible for the entire city.
I have 5 code officers.
Yes, which when you think about how our city has grown, 5 is a small number, but they are continually out there. I know Tommy and I used to do the community living course together, and the students that would come and participate in that program would be like, wow, there's only 5 of you?
Yes.
I see you guys out there all the time. I assumed there was more.
Yes, their job is out there in their areas, proactively and reactively checking those to make sure we enhance the quality of life for our citizens.
Right, absolutely. So what is something that you think our residents, kind of like a misconception that they would have about code enforcement or about solid waste? What are some common misconceptions?
That's a really good question. The one on the top of my list is actually understanding what code enforcement authority actually is.
Right.
We've worked several cases where they wanted us to take owner or possession of somebody's property. We don't have the authority based on state law and local ordinances. We only have the ability to write fines. So, and then also understand the processes that we have. That way we keep the city from getting sued, of course. So, just kind of understand that process. We can talk you through this, our system and how we get things worked out. But just be mindful of, we're out there working for you guys.
Right. And for you kind of touched on it, how people just think, oh, it's just trash. But there's so much more.
Yes. But I think Tommy made a good point. I think there's also somewhat of a misconception that we can complete these tasks almost instantaneously without
Right.
a policy or a process. There's a lot that goes into it, even with just the solid waste ordinances that you guys have to handle for us. And so being on that time frame and not realizing that our residents may have a different mindset in terms of what a time frame can be
Right.
versus what our policies and procedures require us to do.
Yes, there's no just waving of a magic wand and it's all better, unfortunately.
When you put in a request for weeds and grass, we got to give the tenants and owners time to cut their grass. It's not always going to be that next day, of course.
Right. Okay, so let's kind of move into the move-in segment of this episode. Let's start with Tommy. We kind of touched on it briefly, but what are the most common code violations that you see this time of year?
Like we've already touched on, right now it's accumulation of trash, open storage, weeds and grass, like I said, because of the rain. We have been running into a lot of junk vehicles here lately. Just make sure if it's wrecked or dismantled, it can't be in a general suburban area. So go ahead and get those vehicles removed if you're not going to utilize them. Trash can violations, and then property maintenance code violations as well.
Now, when you say something like open storage, for those who might not know, what does that mean?
Okay, it could mean any various items that cannot be seen from the public right of way. So having a refrigerator, a couch, or anything outside that the public can see from a public right of way is considered open storage.
And why is that so important to take care of? And why is that considered a code violation?
That's a great question. So it's meant to be inside, so it needs to be inside. One thing that we've learned with the couches, varmints and rats and stuff like that to tend to, depending on the cloth or the leather of the couch, they like to harbor in those items. So it's a health and safety risk for the rest of the residents in that area.
Can you explain what the city considers as a nuisance property?
So a nuisance property is anybody in the code enforcement world is a frequent flyer. Okay. So it's somebody that has a lot of code violations, and we pretty much have to pay more attention to that address.
And let's kind of walk through the process of what the steps are to correct the violation.
Okay.
From start to finish.
Oh, yeah. So whenever the code officer is in the area and they notice a violation, so what they'll do is they'll leave a door tag letting you know what needs to be fixed or rectified. They come back to the office, they'll start a code case in our track it system, and then they'll make contact with the management company owner or local contact, letting them know that this is what's going on at the property, because a lot of the owners don't know what's going on, right? They actually don't always live in College Station. So we kind of let them know, hey, this is what's going on with your property. This is what needs to be rectified. Usually we want 100% compliance, so usually that door tag works, but every now and again you got to go a little bit further and seek administrative action.
And what are the responsibilities of the renter? Like you said, sometimes the owner of the property, we're a big renter-friendly city. The owners aren't always on site. So if you're renting a property, what are your responsibilities as a tenant?
Good question. So if your grass needs to be mowed and it's not in your lease where the owner would have to mow it, and it's on you, cut your grass.
Yes.
If your trash can's out after collection, remove your trash can. You can follow these steps. That way you won't ever have to hear that knock from code enforcement, of course.
Right. And yes, it is something that is very important, is to read your lease.
Yes.
I know we reiterate that as much as we can. And especially if it's your first time living on your own, that can be kind of like a daunting document to read through. But our city here, our neighborhood services department, can help you if you have questions. But yes, definitely get very familiar with your lease so you're not committing any violations with your property management company or code violations unknowingly. And parking is something that goes hand in hand, especially during game days. Our neighborhoods are very close to Kyle Field, and that's great. But also for game days, with people coming in, people parking in the neighborhoods, it causes a lot of issues for our residents as well as our emergency vehicles or solid waste vehicles too, to get through those streets. So what are some common parking violations that we see during move-in and during the game day season?
One is prohibited parking. So those streets over in the south side area area are more narrow. They're kind of the older streets, right? So there's a lot of parking that is taken away by signage. So just make sure you're paying attention to the signs. If it says no parking, don't park there. Also, we have blocking fire hydrants. You can't be within 15 feet of a fire hydrant. So don't park in front of there, because if there's a fire in that neighborhood and a truck has to break out your windows and run a line through there, it's going to flood out your car. So just make sure that you're paying attention to those. Stop signs, you can't be within 30 feet of a traffic control device. It just puts other people in danger because they can't see that stop sign. So just make sure you're aware of your surroundings. And if you ever have any questions, please call code enforcement and we can walk you through any of these situations you might encounter.
Yes, and another thing that is common that we see, especially when people are trying to find parking and they can't, or if they're having a gathering of some kind or moving in, they'll park on their yard, on the grass. Why is that so dangerous?
Yeah, it's an immediate health and safety risk because, when I first moved to College Station in Waco, you could park wherever you want to, right? It didn't matter about grass. But here in College Station, there's various of reasons why you can't park on the grass. Number one, it's immediate health and safety because, number one, you don't know what you're pulling onto. You have sprinkler system. You have utility locates underneath that ground. You don't know. What if your car is leaking oil? Well, guess what? It just went into our groundwater. So that's a big problem. And then also, just remember that if you are a renter, that's not your property. You need to take care of that, your owner's property.
Right.
For the lease.
And then it's been a very rainy summer here, but typically that is not normal and the grass can be very dry. I know we talked about a couple weeks ago with Harley from fire. It can be a very big fire safety risk parking on the yard. Like you mentioned, gasoline or oil, if that ground is dry, one little spark will set up your entire yard.
Yes, ma'am. Yep.
So we're going to move on to some neighborhood awareness type things. How can students be more considerate to their neighbors, especially with their mixed housing neighborhoods? Like we mentioned, College Station is very much a renter-heavy city. But there's also families that live there and permanent residents. So it's kind of a mixed bag of people living in our neighborhoods. So how can people be good neighbors when they're moving in as well as when they're living there?
Yeah. Now, another great question. It's exactly in the sentence that you asked. Be a good neighbor, right? Like if you're going to have a party or if you're going to have people over, go talk to your neighbors.
Yes.
Let them know, hey, we're going to have a get together. It's going to be during the certain times that we're allotted. And if we're ever loud, come talk to me. I'll turn it down. That way the police doesn't have to be called or code enforcement. So just be a good neighbor. Let them know what's going on.
Right. And if they ask you, hey, can you keep it down? We have kids trying to sleep. Yep. Listen. Be respectful and listen to what they're trying to say. And we're covering a lot here, but if people have questions about the certain code violations or anything, where can they find out more?
You can always call code enforcement 979-764-6363, or you can email codeenforcement@cstx.gov, and we'll be glad to answer any questions you may have. Like I said, we work for you. Please contact us.
Yes, they are there to help. And if someone receives a code violation notice, like we mentioned, the door tags, what are the steps that they need to take to rectify that?
Well, depending on what the violation is, if it's a weeds and grass, cut your grass. If it's a trash can, remove your can. If you ever have any questions, our number's on those door tags. We can walk you through the process.
Now we are going to slide into trash here.
Best part.
Yes, always love talking trash on this show with Caroline. So what should new residents know about College Station's trash and recycling services, especially during move-in?
I would say pay attention to the collection schedule. We have 3 different collection types. So you have bulk and brush, your typical garbage cart collection, and recycling. They're not all on the same day. We actually do that on purpose. It's mainly because you want to have enough curb line to have 2 different containers, which not a lot of the times we don't have, or we have on-street parking. And so we're not blocking or causing some sort of an issue or missed collections if a parallel park car, you've got something too close to a pile. So paying attention to the collection schedule is huge. We try really hard to stick to the collection schedule in terms of efficiency. So like we talked about a little bit earlier, we have 48 staff members, including administration, to service the entire 130,000 people that live here,
Right.
all the multifamilies, commercial entities, residential accounts, everything. So that's a very small amount of people to
Yes.
get everything done. So you can find our collection schedule on our webpage, so cstx.gov/recycle, or you can download our free collection app, College Station Curbside. It's a little maroon garbage truck. It's the best. It's free. Download it. Get your reminders the night before.
Yes.
You can go into the reminder portal on the bottom right and click all three if you like. I just use it for recycling. But yes, so pay attention to that. That's a great option for everyone so you don't miss a collection day.
Yes, the app is very, very useful. I know when I first moved to College Station, it was very different than the collection schedule that I was used to in my hometown. And the app was very helpful. You can get push notification reminders like, hey, don't forget to put your trash out, which I would be laying on my couch on the night before trash night and be like, oh yeah, I got to get the garbage together. So yes, download the app. It's very useful. It's available in the App Store for iPhones as well as Google Play for Android users. Or you can type it into our website if you don't have a smartphone. Which is also very helpful, and it's very easy too, easy to use, easy to search, and especially when there's holidays, it'll tell you
Yes.
If things have shifted for your collection or pickup schedule.
Right. So at the top, there's little campaign notices or service alerts. So a campaign is basically where we're just trying to get out educational info. So for example, we pushed a campaign last week or the last couple weeks about firework disposal and how to do that
Yes.
safely and not cause problems.
Yes.
But we will push out quite a bit, including information that'll come out from Move In and Move Out, especially about how to get rid of bulk items and specific things you can and cannot dispose of, I guess, through our system. But service alerts are really important. So if we have trucks go down, something happens, maybe there's an ice storm. Please, no new ice storm this year. But if there is an ice storm, we will send out alerts that you will receive immediately to tell you, okay, why there's a collection delay, when the new collection will take place, things like that. So it's a great tool. I'm really happy we have it. It's been a lifesaver for
Very,
us.
very helpful. And what are some of the common mistakes that people make with their trash and recycling during move-in, and how can they avoid making those mistakes? We kind of touched on it.
Right. I would say a common mistake would be not paying attention to the collection schedule, which comes back or ties to being a good neighbor. We receive a lot of C-click fixes related to other neighbors wanting us to service more regularly for those that put their piles out, 6 days in advance, and then they have to look at it for 6 days. So just put it out the night before. It's really helpful. Like we mentioned earlier, we try to stick to the collection schedule because of the workload. So that's probably one of the things that we have to worry about the most. The second is probably pile placement. And so same thing where we get complaints or C-click fixes about us not picking things up even on a collection day. It's usually because a pile either is too close to a parallel parked car, or you just have a parallel parked car, something blocking it, overhead obstructions, like we can't damage your trees, communications lines, or you put piles directly on top of comm boxes, things like that, where then I have to submit information to our risk department about us accidentally pulling up cables, things like that, hitting mailboxes. So placement is huge for us. So 4 feet is a general rule of thumb, 4 feet away from anything, as well as out from underneath overhead obstructions. And then you don't have a call from them because they're wanting to know why you've left piles out
Of garbage.
for 6 days. Right.
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 Yeah.
And that's a good thing to bring up too, is that our trucks are fully automated. There's not
Yes.
a person hauling your trash into the back of the truck. There is an automated arm, and that's why keeping things clear from any obstruction is so important.
Yes, so that gripper arm on the side of our residential automated vehicles is bright yellow. You can see it, but it has quite a bit wide of a grip. But also, it's based on hydraulics, so it's not like it's going to go slowly. It'll rip your mailbox out.
Yes.
So it's really important to make sure that you have those 4 feet. If there's any reason why we didn't pick up your container, or if you have multiple containers, it's because they're too close together and that gripper arm cannot pick it up. Most of our guys for automated, they have to service about 1,400 cans per day. So they cannot get out at every single stop to move your containers apart where there's enough space. If you are snow coning your container, that just means you're putting bags on top of the lid or it's just overflowing. Again, that hydraulic is really fast. So for them to pick it up, it's going to go everywhere and cause a litter issue. They don't have enough time to get out to be able to clean all of that up. So just be aware of those types of things. If you need an extra collection, we will happily come help you. If you want an additional container, you are always welcome to call that in. There is an additional fee, but just utilize those mechanisms versus causing a litter issue, causing an issue with your neighbor, things like that. So the other one that we have kind of a bit of a problem with, which I don't know if we have to contact you about it too much, but it's mainly about our recycling bins when it comes to move in and move out. Everyone tries really hard to just get out of their lease so that they can get their deposit back. So we see recycling bins utilized as garbage containers.
Right.
So with our recycling vendor, they're going to pass you by.
Right.
They don't want to collect trash. That's not what it's there for. It's so that those items that are accepted through the system can have a longer lifespan. So we're just increasing their longevity. They can be remanufactured, things like that. But you putting garbage and whatever else or organics into the container, it contaminates the whole thing. So they're going to tag it and they're going to leave it. So usually those are the top three things that we see.
And how does that differ for someone living in a house that they're renting versus an apartment building or a high rise?
Sure. So apartments and high rises are a tad bit different. Apartment complexes, if you have your standard 8-yard dumpsters, you're going to have 2 collections per week. You don't receive recycling directly from the city. Their management or ownership can do that separately if they like through a private contract. But the main thing we see with apartment complexes is people or tenants place items or extra waste in front of the dumpsters. Yes. And then we can't service them because our forks cannot reach. We can't run over the bags. It causes public health issues, vector issues, things like that. So if there's placements of items, doesn't matter if it's bulk, brush, bagged waste, we have to pass it. We don't have a choice. Yeah. And that's when Tommy and I get to talk to each other every day for the next 3 months. But I really appreciate their services because most of the time, management and operations for those apartment complexes, they may not know if they have, say, 20 different containers around their complex to service their citizens. And it's helpful for us to be able to utilize that as a relationship portal with them to get voluntary compliance because we both want voluntary compliance. Right. I don't particularly like conflict. I would rather someone just say, hey, I noticed this. Would you mind getting this fixed? And let us know when we can come service you guys. Or if you need an extra dump, we'll service once you move everything out of the way, reload, and we'll wait and we'll service again to get you caught up. So I think we try to be helpful.
Yes.
More than, the other end of it.
Right. Helpful and voluntary compliance is the overarching goal here.
Yes.
So what is the best way to dispose of things, like we mentioned, bulk items? So that could be old furniture, moving boxes, bulky items. We do offer the bulk pickup.
Yes.
What is the process like for that?
So for bulk pickup, we talked about same thing with placement. Placement's huge, overhead obstructions, things like that. Separate your bulk from your brush.
Yes.
Brush goes into a brush truck, and then we can have it mulched out at the landfill. Bulk is going to go into the open cell. But yeah, make sure that they're separated, no overhead obstructions. That's for your single family homes. Put it out the night before or before 8 a.m. Yes. We do start routes right at 8 o'clock because we have to make it through the route, which is quite a task, especially during move in and move out. It's a little bit different for apartment complexes. We talk quite a bit with the management. They do as well. They do a lot of education alongside with us. We try to work hand in hand to be able to create educational information. Well, of course, it goes through you guys.
Yes.
Look, we're all three.
All three. One team.
Exactly. And so for move in and move out for apartment complexes, we try to get them to place their bulk items in one specific location. So how it works is we have what's called a boom truck. Everybody loves the boom truck. I think say this every time I'm on the show. It's the one with the giant claw.
Yes.
And so we load up a 30 or 40 yard roll-off box with whatever's there at that apartment complex. It's really hard for us to go to every single stop around an entire complex to pick up every item. If it can be consolidated, that's perfect. We'll get it. In terms of time frame is a little bit difficult during move in and move out, which you guys work with us quite a bit on, and we have to have a lot of communication with our code officers. So for time frame, we try and pick up extra work orders for multifamily and whatnot when we're in a specific area to keep it efficient. It's really hard for us to break route and then go to a location that's like 5 miles from where their actual route is. It's a little bit more difficult to do that. But yeah, we just try to make it efficient.
Yes, efficiency is something that personally I think y'all do very, very well. It's definitely a large task, but that goes back to knowing your collection schedule, being informed on when to set your stuff out by the curb. And like we mentioned, recycling. If there's even one tiny piece that is not recyclable, that contaminates the entire thing. So what types of items can be recycled versus what can't?
Sure. So paper products, so that means any type of books, mail that you don't want. I mean, still pay your bills and things, but mail, after you've done that, mail, envelopes, things like that. Types 1 and 2 plastics, that's a big one. So the easiest way to tell what type of plastic that you have is to turn the commodity over. You'll see the recycling symbol. There should be a number in the middle of the recycling triangle. So 1s or 2s. Everything else is not accepted in the program. Steel cans, aluminum cans, things like that. No food products. You cannot have food products on the containers. You have to rinse them out. Glass jars, different colors of glass, it doesn't matter. So things like that. No styrofoam, no single-use plastic bags. That is a huge one that we see quite a bit. If you see it and it's kind of flowing in the wind as the recycling cart lid is a tad bit open, they will pass you because they cannot accept single-use plastic bags. Best way to get rid of them is I hoard them in my pantry just like everybody else, right? And so if you have a pet and you need to walk your pet, use your plastic bag. So at least you're giving it a little bit longer of a lifespan. Or hoard them like me, take them to the kiosks at the front of H-E-B, Walmart, wherever you can get rid of them that way. They accumulate so much because people utilize their kiosks that they can actually recycle them through their manufacturers and vendors that they use directly.
Yes, that is very important. I know it's different everywhere you live, but
not one size fits all.
Yeah, not one size fits all for sure. And something that I didn't know, fabrics, like textiles, those are not recyclable either.
No, but there are. I actually did this past weekend. I was cleaning out my girls' closets, and so you'll see the back to school bins and whatnot. So I'm big on promoting donating. Donating what you can that you think is still useful. So donate first. And things like that. So just the typical 3 to 4 R's, reduce, reuse, recycle, all the things.
All of those wonderful things that we've learned as children continue on into adulthood. And before we wrap things up here, what are some final advice, final things that you would like to share with our residents and our incoming students?
Okay, yeah. So on June 12th, our council changed our current sanitation ordinance. Usually the trash can can't stay out with the 12 hours after collection. So they bumped that to 24 to kind of give you a little bit extra time. So if you're going out of town or something like that, right? So usually that was a criminal violation when we worked our cases. So if you leave your trash can out for longer than 12 hours, you would get a door tag and eventually seek administrative action. So we'd either write you a citation or a summons request through the court system. So now they adopted a fee for $25.50 that we are going to start administering this fall. So it's not, just want to let you know, it's not a money grab. It's one of those that it's an extra tool in our toolbox. So if we're making contact with the owners, management companies, and tenants, and they're out of town, we'll completely understand, right? Like we all know we have lives. It's those, we're trying to treat those symptoms of that bad behavior, right? Those onesies and twosies that doesn't remove the can. So we'll just assess that fee, and we have the ability to assess that fee once a cycle, so every month. So make sure you remove that trash can.
Set a reminder or download the app to get the reminder yourself. Make a contract with your roommates. set up a group text, something.
Yes, because if those fees pile up, you'll have to talk to your other
Right.
tenants in that house for sure.
Exactly. And for you, Caroline, what are some final thoughts that you'd like to share?
Man, I feel like y'all hit quite a bit of it
Yes,
in terms
talked
of
about
just
a lot.
the collection schedule and being a good neighbor. Advice for new students. I liked Tommy's advice of getting to know your neighbors, especially if you're out of town. Then you
Yes.
can have them pull up your
Yes.
garbage can, things like that. But just paying attention, being a good neighbor. If you're really interested in what the city does, because I feel like a lot of us, we kind of get stuck in our own little worlds and
Yes.
expertise. A good option, if you have the time, I feel like, is participating in Citizens University.
Yes.
And then you get a
Absolutely.
real world view of all the things that a municipality does that you just have no idea.
Right.
And
Yes.
so that would be my piece of advice if you had the time.
Yes, Citizens University is a great program that, again, our Neighborhood Services Department handles. Information about that can be found at our website, cstx.gov. And we also mentioned the C-Click Fix app.
Yes.
For those that don't know what that is, what is C-Click Fix and why is it so useful for us as a city?
Okay, so C-Click Fix it's a free app, right? So you just download on your phone or your Android, like you previously stated. It has a GIS location of where the request or category or complaint that you just saw out in College Station, of course. It has the request category, so if it's open storage, accumulation, it's routed directly to the code officer for your area or the area of the complaint you're putting in. Or if it's a sanitation issue, like if you need a new lid or a new tire on your trash can, it's routed directly to sanitation. Potholes are directed straight to public works, so it's routed to the exact person that needs to handle that request.
Yes, and the requests coming in can be made anonymously.
Yes.
If you're having you notice something with your neighbor and you don't want them to know that it was you, you can submit things anonymously, but we do ask that you keep things civil.
Yes.
This is
yes.
not Facebook. This
Yes,
is
it
not,
is
a,
not
social
a social media website. Yes, ma'am.
for
Yes.
you to air out your dirty laundry with your neighbors. It is simply to inform us because, like we mentioned, our citizens are our eyes and ears in our city. There's only so much that we can see, and when you are out there in your neighborhood, if you see something that needs our attention, use C-Click Fix, take a picture, and let us know.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so we are coming towards the end here. We've talked about a lot of good information. Before we go, we have a really quick game here that goes hand in hand with moving in and coming back to school and heading to college. So are y'all ready?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess so.
I know. So what was your favorite class in school? We'll start with Tommy.
History.
History, okay.
I liked remediation.
Okay.
Yep.
For those that don't know what that is, like me, what does that mean?
Okay, so remediation is basically where you have some sort of chemical or plume or something in
Okay.
a specific media. So media for environmental people.
Yes.
We love acronyms. But media for environmental people is like water, air, soil. So remediation is cleaning up and trying to return that piece of property or that media to its original state.
Very interesting.
Except that doesn't really exist here in College Station. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is great.
Yeah. Did y'all prefer early morning classes or evening classes?
Well, I went online, so
Okay.
it didn't really matter to me. I was an
Gotcha.
online student.
Gotcha.
Oh, I was a typical college kid. It was definitely late afternoon, evening classes. Yeah.
Yes, for sure. Where is your college alma mater?
Sam Houston.
Okay.
Eat 'em up cats.
I'm an Aggie. Gig 'em.
Yay! Okay. I feel like lately we've not had a lot of Aggies on the show, so at least we are back to having an Aggie on the show. What is your favorite part about College Station?
Like I said, being from Waco, it was a bigger town previously before '07 when I moved here. I like the small hometown feel, where you get to know your neighbors, right? Back in those days, you really wanted to be by yourself, but I have great relationships with my neighbors. Just like Caroline said, I've cut people's grass, I've moved in their trash cans, and they've done the same for me. So it's that hometown feel where you get to know your neighbors and you get to just have great conversations with people.
Yes.
I would say the same. Getting involved in the community is fantastic, and I agree that it's not. So I'm from Southwest Houston, so the Missouri City Sugar Land area, which is like, you don't know anybody because there's so many people, right?
Yeah.
So I moved here for school, and actually my husband's from here. He's from Bryan. And so it's nice to know that you have all these people that you can rely on if you really needed to. But I also like the feel of like we're kind of in between. We're a small city to where I can go to the grocery store and say hi to like 6 people.
Yes.
But also I can go to major sports events.
Yes.
Like we took our girls to go see the track and field I think it was like the regional championships
Yes,
a couple months ago.
USATF.
Yes, it was fantastic.
Yes.
It was hot, but it was great. And so you can do all these cool things, but still drive home in 15 minutes, which
Right.
is nice. So that's my
Yes.
MO.
People in proximity is
Yes.
something that is very unique to College
Yes.
Station. Okay, and final question. Do you prefer Northgate or South College Station?
South College Station. That's why I live there.
Well, it doesn't seem this way, but I'm very much an introvert and I stay at home.
Gotcha.
Yes. So just, yes, very much an
Yes.
introvert family person. I go to HEB and that's pretty much it. So, yeah.
Alrighty, well, thank you both for joining me today. One more time, where can people learn more about what we talked about today?
Contact Code Enforcement 979-764-6363. Code Enforcement at cstx.gov.
Nice. So for solid waste, you can find us at cstx.gov/recycle. You can download the free College Station Curbside app, or you can call us at 979-764-3690.
Alrighty, well, thank you again for joining me today.
Thank you.
And that's what's up.